Yu-Gi-Oh! Is not just a game, it can be a whole experience. Taking a new deck you've never played before, building it from the ground up, and making it your own to eventually compete in tournaments at the highest level is just so satisfying to me. To truly get the full, authentic Yu-Gi-Oh! Experience though, we're doing things the old-fashioned way. Our cards can only be obtained from inside a pack or by trading with fellow duelists. This time, we become the king of synchros. Welcome to Playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Properly, Season 2. Subscribe. We have our hands on the strongest build of Red Dragon Archfiend to date, and now we build ourselves up for Nationals next month. After discovering some new combo lines in the previous episode, I think it's worth going back now that we have a new build and figuring out where all the different kind of 2-card combos can play through different interruptions. Figuring all of this out is not only going to teach us how to sequence our hands when it comes to playing a game, but it's also potentially going to reveal to us some different weaknesses that we weren't already aware of, and then potentially we could change our deck building patterns around that. We'll see, we'll see. We're also going to be playing in an OTS championship today, so all of that theory and practice is going to be put to the test today as well. In the last episode, I did say that there was one card we needed that was probably going to be pretty difficult to get our hands on. However, Leo at Locals had a spare one, and he loves jank. I really didn't expect anything to come from this, but he went through our binder randomly, and we're starting this episode off with a very nice trade. Just so many random jank cards for all his different decks, plus some value in there as well, some of our high value spells, and we now own a Chouse Angle, baby. But Revs, how do you even make this? Do you not get locked to Dark Dragon Synchros, huh? You only get locked for the turn if you activate Crimson Resonator or Red Rising Dragon. However, we do not go through either of those cards going second typically. Soul Resonator locks you to Dark Synchros after you've activated its effect. So it's relatively easy for us to just make a Chaos Angel going second to help crack our opponent's board before actually committing to our full Red Dragon Archfiend play. This is especially true after siding in Bestial to synchro with Primera, but you also have the option going first to set up a synchro summon on your opponent's turn for Chaos Angel through stand-up Centurion, assuming you don't need to go for Calamity or something. It's just a cool card, man. I'm glad to finally be able to play like a good synchro that's not just a Dark Dragon. We're not going to be opening any product today. This episode is just all about learning the deck, because this version of the deck is going to be our best shot at topping a tournament in this format, so we need to cook this deck perfectly, which is why this episode is sponsored by HelloFresh. Imagine having all of the optimal deck ratios just handed to you on a plate without having to do anything except choose what deck you want to play. Life would be so much easier. HelloFresh does exactly this for you, but with food rather than cards. Simply choose your meals from their huge selection and get sent the exact ingredients for each meal with easy to follow instructions that will have you turned into a pro top 4 chef in no time. You don't have to worry about waste, and you don't have to worry about getting lost in the shop finding everything you need. It couldn't be any more convenient for those who like to cook. Their menu is even so diverse that it caters to all diet types, whether you're calorie counting or vegan, focusing on protein. They have it all, man. Yep, I do love a HelloFresh box. That's why we feature them so many times on this channel, and if you want to give it a try and help out the channel, I've got a bargain for you. If you click the link in the description or use my code, you'll not only get 10 free meals, but you'll also get free dessert for life while your subscription is active. That's like a free Medolce core, man. Hell yeah. Give it a go though, see if you enjoy it, and thanks again to HelloFresh for sponsoring this episode. Alright, so I've been cooking up a lot of different scenarios in the kitchen here to figure out how to sequence our kind of 2-card combos into interruptions and discover new ways to play around different kind of hand traps. And there's a lot more to go into here than initially with the pure build, because initially we only had like 3 different things to look at, but there's so many things here. I've also taken a look at all the kind of popular techs that are going around in this format. Obviously it's still a hand trap format, so it's all the same kind of culprits like Effect Veiler, Imperm, Ghost Mourner, Ash. Ghost Ogre is actually seeing play now. And then we have things like Droplet and stuff seeing play as well. Thankfully, in most cases, because of the Calamity lock, board breakers aren't really much of a problem, so we don't have to consider those as much. But yeah, depending on the cards that we're comboing with, it really varies. Ultimately, the goal here is kind of figure out what to do in the hands with these 2 cards. Like if we have Bone plus Sweeper, previously in the pure build, we would always want to search for Crimson because that would be the most resilient line. And that changes now, I think. So we're going to delve into Crimson plus Bone, and we're going to delve into Soul plus Bone, And if we have access to soul plus access to like another resonator, what do we do then? These are all things that we're gonna go through today. Yeah, it's gonna be a very combo heavy episode, but it's necessary to kind of figure out what we're doing with this deck competitively, you know what I mean? So let's get into it. Alright, starting off super basic and super obvious, we have just the 1-card Soul Resonator combo that I've already showed you previously. This dies to literally any hand trap except specifically Droll, and then we can kind of talk about that as we go through the combo, and board breakers as well. So of course, normal summon Soul effect, we add the Bone, we activate the effect of Bone to special summon itself, effect target Soul, dumping Crimson to change its level to 2, and I'm going to synchro these two into Red Rising, target Crimson. Like even Bell on the Crimson here works. Literally any hand trap will do it except Droll. So we summon back the Crimson. Crimson effect, summoning out the Vision and the Synchron. We go Vision plus Synchron, like Nib here also does it, into Scarred. That's going to trigger Vision, adding Crimson Gaia to hand. We then go Synchron plus Scarred into our Abyss, Chainlink 1 Synchron, target the Vision, Chainlink 2 Scarred. Summon out Red Dragon Archfiend. So Vision in hand here. We then synchro the RDA and the Crimson into Bane. You could also summon Dispatter here. We just want to keep Dispatter in rotation for like the next turn or something. But yeah, special summon Vision Resonator. Synchro with the Bane to summon Oxala. Oxala effect's going to add the stand-up Centurion. And then we just activate that and go through the Centurion lines. So send a card to grave, place Trudea, Trudea effect to summon, Trudea effect to place. Placing the Primera. And activate Crimson Gaia effect. Add Red Zone. Set Red Zone. Pass turn. So if our opponent has things like Cosmic Cyclone, Forbidden Droplet, Book of Eclipse, literally any board breaker like Dark Ruler No More, we can chain Red Zone to Droplet or Dark Ruler and chain Abyss, negate whichever card it was. Or if it's just like Cyclone or Eclipse, we can Abyss negate that. So board breakers don't matter if we're able to resolve the full 1-card Soul combo. But literally any hand trap, and this is a hand trap format, will stop the combo completely, except Droll. But in terms of board breakers here, if our opponent has Super Poly specifically, we lose. If they're playing it optimally, they'll want to chain it to Crimson Dragon so that way we kind of commit to the Crimson Dragon and get no value out of our Centurion cards. So we summon Trudea, we summon Primera. Primera obviously adds Gargoyle. We then synchro these two into the Crimson Dragon. There you go, Crimson Dragon effect, target Oxala. Our opponent goes Super Poly. That's it. GG. Until they destroy Crimson Dragon, Gaia brings back Scarred. And then we have a Pop Live on Red Zone, but that's not enough. At that point, Super Poly has always just been the bane of our existence, but I have figured out a way to play around Super Poly. I just don't know if it's worth it or not because you kind of play into other board breakers, for example like Droplet. So it depends on the deck you're against. If you're against a deck that only plays Super Poly, then you can do that line, and I will show you that line later, but probably don't recommend it. I don't know. It can come up. We'll see. We'll see. All right, next up is definitely where this deck shines, and it's when you have access to both engines. So we have Soul Resonator plus either Emblem at Oath or Stand-Up Centurion. And going through all the different combo situations and scenarios, not a single card completely kills this setup except Super Poly. We can play around Super Poly with the setup as well, but then it plays into other things, so it's not exactly worth it. But it's like these are two completely separate different combo lines, essentially. So if your opponent has one hand trap, they're able to stop one of these engines, but then you just go through the opposite engine line, right? So like if you stop the Centurion stuff, we still have Abyss plus Dispatter and whatnot. And if you stop the Resonator stuff, we still have Calamity. And again, I have showed you the uninterrupted line with these two cards in a separate video, but we'll go through it here just now. So we're gonna normal summon Soul. Soul effect is gonna add the Bone. We'll then follow up with the Emblem at Oath, placing the Stand-Up Centurion. Activate Stand-Up Centurion, effect sending Bone to grave to place the Trudea. Trudea effect to summon. We keep it as a level 4. Trudea effect to place. Actually, it depends on the rest of your hand and how many interruptions you expect your opponent to have. You could go up to 8, but we're going to keep it as 4 here. Place, and the Primera gets placed as well here. And then we just keep these two in the back row for the remainder of our turn and proceed to play with the Resonator line. So Bone sends something from hand to special summon itself, effect target soul. dump Crimson, make Soul level 2. We then make Red Rising. Red Rising effect is going to target the Crimson Resonator. Crimson, whoopsies. Crimson summoning out once again the Vision and the Synchron. Vision plus Red Rising into the Scarred is going to trigger Vision to add a spell or trap. Synchron plus Scarred is going to make our Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss, Chainlink 1 Scarred, Chainlink 2 Synchron, target in the Vision to add back to our hand, and summon out Red Dragon Archfiend. And then this time, we are indeed going to make the Dispatter. We then go Crimson Gaia effect to add Red Zone, set Red Zone, and pass turn. Now, we are not going to Calamity Lock if we go uninterrupted, but our end board is strong enough that it should just win the game, especially if we have other hand traps in our hand. The reason we're doing this is because if we get Nibiru'd, we can just Calamity Lock our opponent. So we go summon Primera, after getting Nibiru'd, of course, so we would have a token. Primera effect, add the Gargoyle. Gargoyle, send the field spell, special summon itself, and then we make Oxala, and that's essentially Calamity Lock right there. But going uninterrupted on our opponent's turn, we go summon Trudea, summon Primera, Chainlink 1 Primera, Chainlink 2 Stand-Up Centurion, so we add the Gargoyle, and we synchro these two into the Crimson Dragon. Crimson Dragon target Abyss is going to summon out the Trishula, and that's going to rip one from field, hand, and graveyard, making the negate on Dispatter live. So yeah, multiple interruptions, and you see that we're adding Gargoyle essentially on our opponent's turn. That has led quite a lot of people to believe that you don't need to play the Gargoyle, but that's completely untrue. You absolutely need to play the Gargoyle so that your engine works through interruption. All right, so the reason we actually play the Gargoyle is so that we don't need to use our normal summon to actually do anything with the Centurion engine. So for example here, normal summon Soul. Let's say Soul gets ashed, gets impermed, gets stopped, gets veilered. We go, okay, Emblem of Oath to set the field spell, activate the field spell, send something from hand to grave to place Trudea. Trudea effect to summon, Trudea effect to place, itself plus Primera. Primera effect to summon, Primera effect to search. Adds a Gargoyle here. We activate the Gargoyle in hand, sending the field spell to grave to special summon itself. And then we synchro the Primera and the Gargoyle into Oxala. Effect of Oxala on summon is going to search another copy of the field spell, because the effect is once per turn. You can still activate as many copies as you want. So we'll then activate the second field spell, proceed to the end phase. Oxala is going to place Primera from our graveyard. Then our opponent's turn, boom, boom, make Crimson Dragon, target the Oxala, and make the Calamity Lock. Right there, that is why we play the Gargoyle, and I've seen like a lot of people ask, how does the one Centurion card just make Calamity Lock? That's essentially how as well.
Like the video of this card sucks, by the way.
Alright, let's make the epic read that our opponent has Super Poly. Or maybe they revealed that they're on Super Poly game 1, we're going first game 2, who knows, but yeah, we're playing around Super Poly here. So we're once again going to start with normal summon Soul. Effect adds Bone from the deck to the hand, activate Oath. We're going to place the Stand-Up Centurion, activate the field spell, activate the effect of the field spell, sending Boner to place the Trudea. Trudea effect to place itself and Primera from the deck. And now we continue. So Boner effect in grave, special summon himself, effect target Soul, dumping the Crimson. We're going to make Soul level 2 and synchro into Red Rising. Red Rising effect target Crimson. And then this time, with the effect of Crimson, we're going to summon out 2 Vision Resonators. And the reason we're doing that is so that we can just synchro everything here into Red Supernova Dragon. Of course, Vision's going to trigger here, adding Crimson Gaia. You can activate the Crimson Gaia effect, add Red Zone, set the Red Zone, and pass turn. Okay, so our board currently cannot be super polyed. Although Trudea is a dark, so if we attempt to like Centurion combo with the Supernova live, we're gonna get super polyed for 2 darks, so we can't have that. Instead, we want to wait for our opponent to activate a monster effect. We're gonna chain the Supernova to banish itself. Once Supernova is off the field, we can then go through our Centurion synchro. Of course, Primera is gonna add the Gargoyle, and we can synchro these 2 into the Crimson Dragon. And now that we no longer have a dark on the field, we can activate the Red Zone effect, targeting the Supernova to bring it back. And now Crimson can target Supernova to Calamity Lock our opponent under Super Poly. They just didn't have an opportunity to Super Poly us. The question is whether that's worth it over the standard combo. If they had Droplet instead of Super Poly, we at least got to resolve one Supernova effect. But then Crimson just gets dropleted alongside Supernova on the second one, and we're kind of screwed from there, right? Like, Crimson Gaia can't even bring anything back. Red Zone isn't going to be live for the pop or anything. That's what I'm saying. I don't know if it's worth it, but it is a potential play through Super Poly. I don't know, man. I don't know. Okay, now this is where things get kind of interesting, because let's say we have a hand of Bone plus Stone Sweeper. The question is, what do we search with Stone Sweeper? Do we search for Crimson, or do we search for Soul? And it's not a simple answer. If we went for Soul, and then had Soul plus Bone in hand, it's very easy for our opponent to interrupt us incorrectly regardless of their hand traps. Like, if they throw an Ash or an Imperm at Soul and we already have Bone in hand, they've just hand looped themselves for one, and we literally just go full combo. I think the Soul plus Bone line has way more opportunity to be hurt than the Bone plus Crimson line is still. And the ceiling of this combo is still way higher, so we probably want to search for Crimson every time. So for example, if we have Bone plus Soul, if they Imperm Soul, of course we go full combo. The Ash Soul, we go full combo. But if they Imperm like Bone, we search Vision off of Soul, we can then make Abyss. We're guaranteed to have Abyss through Imperm if they hit Bone. If they Ash the Bone, same thing, we get Abyss. And then Ogre is like also kind of weird. Like if they Ogre our normal summon, Soul, we could just resolve the Soul, add Crimson, and then go full combo from there. But if they don't Ogre Soul and they Ogre Bone, we're fucked. So this is what I mean. Like, our opponent can play the interruption very incorrectly and we can go full combo with these two cards. But there is a chance that they don't play it incorrectly and we just get hurt because of it. And then also with this line, assuming Soul resolves, we search Vision and we go through the Nibiru line that I showed you in the last episode, which is just a lower ceiling than the Crimson plus Bone line, because if we go for the Crimson plus Bone line, we essentially have the same result if our opponent has Nibiru, so we're as well just going for the higher ceiling play. And also there's no point where an Ogre can hurt this combo. So if we look at the Crimson plus Bone lines, it's a lot easier to interrupt correctly with something like an Imperm. Like, you would Imperm the Red Rising Dragon and then we're forced to just make Abyss. But if you Ash, if all our opponent has is Ash, and they Ash our Crimson Resonator, we can still Calamity Lock them. Ogre does nothing. So I think in conclusion, if we have a hand with Bone plus Sweeper, we're still always searching the Crimson Resonator with the Sweeper and then comboing this way. And it's actually a really cool combo, assuming our opponent has Ogre, so I'll show you that now. All right, here we go. So our opponent has a Ghost Ogre and we have the Crimson plus Bone line. So we're gonna special summon Crimson, normal summon Bone, synchro these two into the Red Rising Dragon. Red Rising Dragon effect, target Crimson. They'll probably read our cards, read Crimson, see that we need the Dark Dragon synchro on field to activate Crimson. So they'll probably Ghost Ogre here, right? Like, if they don't Ghost Ogre here, then the Ghost Ogre is not going to matter. So they chain Ghost Ogre to Red Rising, and the Crimson gets summoned. We then activate the Bone effect in Grave, send something from hand to special summon itself. Bone effect, target himself, dumping Vision to increase his level to 5. We'll go Vision effect to add Crimson Gaia. Activate Crimson Gaia effect, add back the Vision from the graveyard. Because Bone is level 5, we can special summon the Vision, and then Vision plus Bone is going to make Quibelt. Then we're free to activate Crimson Resonator's effect. This time we're going to summon Soul plus the Synchron. Activating the effect of Soul on summon, we're going to add a UV loop to our hand, and then we're going to Synchro Soul plus the Quibelt into Bestial Dispatter. Now from here we can activate the effect of UV Loop, targeting the Red Rising Engrave, banishing the Red Rising to summon UV Loop. Then we can go Dispatter, summon back the Red Rising synchro with Crimson Resonator to summon Scarred. Then we can go Scarred plus Synchron into Abyss, Chainlink 1 Synchron, Chainlink 2 Scarred. Synchron can add back Vision, I guess, or you probably add back Soul, so there's no fires in the graveyards. But we've summoned out Red Dragon Archfiend. Red Dragon Archfiend plus the UV Loop is going to summon out the Oxala. Oxala effect adds the Stand-Up Centurion. Activating the Stand-Up Centurion, we don't actually need the Vision anymore. Just really depends what's in our hand, but stand up, discard Vision to place Trudea. Trudea to summon, Trudea to place. And we can also make the Dispatter live by going UV Loop, target Red Dragon Archfiend. So yeah, our opponent resolved Ghost Ogre and we still went essentially full combo. The only thing we're missing is the red zone. So if they have like Forbidden Droplet, then we're kind of cooked, but it's good to know that Ghost Ogre barely touches that combo line. All right, fuck it. I might as well just show you the line if Crimson gets ashed as well, because it's very simple, but it's also very cute, right? So we special Crimson, normal summon Bone, synchro these two into the Red Rising Dragon, effect summons back the Crimson, and we go Crimson effect. Crimson gets ashed, okay? So what we're gonna do now is synchro these two into Scarred, then activate the effect of Bone Engraved, sending Scarred to the graveyard for cost to special summon itself. That's going to trigger Scarred to summon Red Dragon Archfiend. Bone effect is going to target itself, make it a 3 or a 5, doesn't really matter. But dumping the UV loop, we then go UV loop effect, target Scarred to add itself back. And then UV loop effect, target Red Rising to special summon itself. Then RDA plus UV loop is going to make the Oxala. Oxala is going to get the field spell. And then we just do the Centurion line to Calamity Lock our opponent through the Ash on Crimson Resonator. Like I said, very simple, but also very cute. All right, the next dilemma. We have the Resonator Starters. So we have a hand with Soul plus Stone Sweeper. How do we want to sequence this? Now, the line through Nibiru was always starting with Crimson Resonator and then normal summoning Soul, and then going straight into Scarred. The issue with that is we would have to start with Stone Sweeper, search Crimson Resonator, then we just hard lose to Droll, right? We're losing to Droll for no reason. With the Centurion line and the combo I showed you in the last video, we can start off with Soul, search the Bone so that we don't just lose to Droll for no reason, and then Stone Sweeper can search the Vision after. But that changes when we have a hand where we're gonna lose to Droll regardless. Like if we have two different searchers, we have Crimson Gaia and Stone Sweeper, we will Crimson Gaia add Soul, and then we would go the Stone Sweeper line for Crimson Resonator. And the reason we would do that is because the ceiling of the board with the Crimson line is much higher than the ceiling of the board with the Vision line. Playing through and around Nibiru. And the main benefit of that line is getting rid of the random lose condition to Droll. But if we're going to lose to Droll anyway, we might as well go for the high ceiling play and search for the Crimson Resonator and do it that way. At least if that makes sense. We're doing a lot of freaking yapping today. Okay, now let's get into some of the weaknesses we have. So Dimension Shifter is obviously a problem. It's always been kind of a problem, but yeah, it still causes us issues because it turns off Bone Archfiend, it turns off Stand-Up Centurion, so that's no longer a starter for us, and it turns off Gargoyle, so it basically neuters most of our combo lines unless we open specifically Emblem at Oath. This is the only card we have that can play through Nibiru, and so for that reason, I think we have to play Prosperity so that we're a little better into Shifter. But post-side, I am playing the Wandering King Wildwind in the side deck. I still don't know if it's 100% worth it or not. But if we are playing the Wildwind and we side it in, we get shifted. These two hands, obviously Emblem at Oath, but we can extend past the Emblem at Oath with the Stone Sweeper if we're playing Wildwind. And we can also make a board with double Resonator Starters if we're playing the Wildwind. This is just the same combo as we were doing in Pure. And I'll show you the Emblem at Oath plus the Stone Sweeper combo through Shifter as well right now. Alright, here we go. So our opponent has activated Dimension Shifter and we have our 2-card combo here. We have Stone Sweeper plus Emblem at Oath. So we're going to start off with the Stone Sweeper. You just need to discard it. It doesn't need to go to the graveyard, so we can banish it from hand to add Crimson Resonator. We'll special Crimson Resonator and then activate the Emblem at Oath. With the Oath, we're going to place a monster. We're going to place a Primera. Activate the effect of Primera to summon, then the effect of Primera to search. We're going to search for the Trudea. We can normal summon the Trudea and activate the effect of Trudea to place itself and the Gargoyle from the deck. We'll activate the effect of Gargoyle to summon, and we'll keep it as a level 8 so that we can then synchro these two into our Oxala. Oxala is going to activate to add Stand-Up Centurion to her hand. Now, we have a Dark Dragon Synchro on the field, so we can activate the effect of Crimson, summoning out Soul and the Synchron Resonator. Soul's going to activate to add the Wildwind. Bone, of course, we cannot summon here, so the Wildwind is what we would be adding. We'll special summon the Wildwind and synchro it alongside the Soul to make a Quibelt. We can then go Quibelt plus Crimson into the Abyss, and then Abyss plus Synchron into the Abystial Dispater, and then Dispater effect is going to summon back the Abyss. and then we can activate Stand Up Centurion. End phase Oxala is going to place Primera from the Banish Zone, and that's essentially going to give us the Calamity Lock, but with the additional protection of the Abyss, and Dispatter is also live because, you know, everything's getting banished, so it's a little bit of a higher ceiling than just going for the Centurion lock with Emblem of Oath. So that's why I am still kind of pilled on the Wild Wind in the side deck for shifter decks, because if you don't have access to Wild Wind, literally your only play is Emblem of Oath, and you have no other cards that can help you play through Shifter. I guess you could like side in Bestials, maybe. Is that enough? I don't know. Alright, the last thing I want to talk about is this little fucker right here. Ban this card, man. Fuck this card. But yeah, we actually have to take this into consideration because this is seeing a lot of play right now to stop things like Tempai. And people can thrust into this card, which is why initially I didn't really want to play hand traps because we just insta-lose to D-Barrier. But that's not really true. So if we play, this is going down to like deck building theory and stuff. If we play board breakers, and our opponent debarriers us, we get turn skipped and they were allowed to build a board. We can't crack their board with board breakers like Droplet or whatever because we can't play through it anyway because we can't synchro summon. So I feel like we're forced to play hand traps to prevent them from making a board. They can fall back on the thrust into debarrier, and then we can set up to play on their turn with the Centurion stuff, which is actually better than the pure build, because if you're playing pure, you literally just get turn skipped. There's nothing you can do about it. Thankfully, this gives us a chance to actually win a game through D-Barrier. But yeah, fuck this card. See this shit? Put this on the ban list, please. Why does it still exist? Why? Alright bro, enough yapping, more action. This is the list that we're currently rocking. 45 cards with 15 hand traps in the main deck. A couple of interesting choices that I'm currently testing out, so we won't go into too much detail with the deck list in this episode. Maybe do a deck profile in the next episode. Side deck is looking pretty solid. There are a few cards I want to get my hands on. Maybe Fenrir's, maybe Phantasmes. I'm not 100% sure yet. But yeah, this is what we're going to be taking to the OTS Championship. Let's see if all our theory pays off. It's time to duel, baby. Let's get it. Target the mermaid fish horse. It's mermaid fish horse. Heard of mermaid fish horse? Alright, OTS Championship, and we're playing upstairs in the venue this time, so once again we're having to deal with glares and crappy camera angles. But yeah, odd numbers taking part today, and funnily enough, round 1 we get the bye, so, you know, free win, we'll take it, we'll take it. Round 2 we win the dice roll against Leo on Memento. Game 1 we're going first uninterrupted, so very easily a good game there, and then game 2 we're going second, but we hit him with a Veiler. That's enough to make him panic a little bit. He does super poly into a twin dragon, but ultimately he's unable to get enough memento names in graveyard to actually do anything. He kind of whiffs on a prosp as well, so just ends on set 2 pass.
Start my man? Yep. You would do barrier. You would. I was praying that you would just set something. I mean, it's your game at this point. Why don't you show for a combo? Spell trap. Okay. I've report. DQ him. I couldn't. If I did not top deck a start, I couldn't have played. Oh, shit,
Round 2, we lose the die roll to Jess on Voiceless, and we open Imperm plus Ghost Ogre, but an Imperm is enough to stop her turn. She just couldn't get to low. Passing it over to us, we do get Ashed, meaning we just have to play with the Centurion cards because we have the field spell in hand, but that's enough to grind out the game. Game 2, we open Imperm Bell, which is also enough to stop her turn. We Imperm Diviner and Bell the Saphira. Then over to us, we have Crimson Gaia, Synchron, Soul, Bone. So we just try and bait a bunch of things. I start with Crimson Gaia, which gets Twin Twistered. I normal summon Soul, which gets Impermed, and then the Bone in hand is just full combo from there. This puts us at a 3-0 record going into the final round without dropping a single game. Can we make it the 4-0 and take home that OTS mat? For the 4th and final round, we lose the dice roll to Jay on Kashtira.
Good luck, Jay. Stand by me. Hospital. Sure.
She knows that Jack's she's stumping in the back.
Roll for the carry.
The second one
Remain place. Activate. Let's build plus. Oh, solid trap.
second.
Yeah. Activate. Back some. Keep that as a level 4 for now. Back. Banner your effect target from arrow. Chain from arrow this one.
You don't get banished because it's
Derek. Attack on summon to add Centurion. Back to Gargoyles. Cost. Dispatch summon. We'll chain 1 Legatia to top 1. Draw 1 and top your monster with the highest attack. You chain 2 Gargoyle. Add its health back because it uses sync material. Normal summon effect. Activate. Cabs to go and place. To place from Graver Hands.
Start my face back.
No response.
Go in.
Okay. 10. 2.
This is 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, his effect spell is when it summons it. I hate that.
So resolution, any triggers or quick effects? Effect target. On resolution, any triggers?
So it's 4 Banish both Zeus. There's another attack and enemy of Zeus and pass.
Game 2, surely I have to. I'll chain Anish. Yeah.
There was questions.
I play 1 hero.
I only had one on the binder.
Alright, draw the turn. Normal summon. Res. Spell trap. Activate effect, stamp across. Like 7. Make it like 8. Back to place. Low on effect, stamp across.
And that's on pistol. Okay.
You have 2 in hand. Your effect target soul. Sand Crimson, make soul level 4.
I will invest to banish
Start. Splash 1. So banish Scarred, add yourself engraved to hand. Go back to the start. Yeah. Effect. Back to search. Up. 3, 6, 5, 8, 1.
Easy dub, baby. 4-0, meaning we win the OTS championship without dropping a single game. I definitely don't even think I played that perfectly, but this deck is so fun, man. I love it so much. That is another playmat in the bag, which we have already sold to Jess for £45. Hell yeah. Yo, I forgot about the packs we got from locals. So I'm actually excited about this, man. If we pull like anything spicy, that's gonna be so exciting. Any quarter centuries or anything, but I'm pretty sure most of the good stuff was pulled. We'll see though, we'll see. So Ancient Gear Duel, Talons of Shirlane, Melodious Concerto, Ragnarok Mantis Monk. We have Fishborg, Harpooner. Isn't that crazy? Oh, we could pull Pydra. Like, Pydra as a super rare is really nice. I don't think anyone pulled a Pydra, so we could get cooking with that. In Papa's Footsteps, Ancient Gear Duel, Sanga Kaiman. We got Skeletal Soldier, Shaman of the Ashen City. Very cool. Hunting Dance, and yeah, Chundra. Pack number 3, what do we have? Krishnerd Witch. We have a Baka. There's so many good commons in this set, actually. Gargoyle. We have Bident Dragon, and Way Where There's a Will. It's like a Pot of Prosperity. Going second only kind of thing. Pretty cool, pretty cool. All right, second last pack. This has been ass so far. Go stand up for a sec. We have Cooling Embers. What is this, a Hollow Trap card? Mirage Mirror Force. Very cool. Yeah, well, you know the drill. You get first place. You pull fuck all. You pull jack shit. What do we have? Memento Talan Fusion, double die. Do we have something? Cooling Embers. Sanga Kaiman. We actually got Pydra, baby. Let's go. Was that £10 still? £10 value in the binder? Hell yeah, that can go towards, we pretty much have everything we need. I can go towards some non-engine, maybe some side deck cards. Fenrir? Phantasme? I don't know, man. Pydra's cool though. Let's go. All round, I'm gonna say solid episode. You know, we got the Chaos Angel, we got the flawless Locals OTS Championship performance, and we're still learning cool little interactions, bro.
Oh my god, absolute gamer interaction I just discovered. Bitch summon Ogre from grave. Ogre's live on field. That's so funny.